Good day, dear my listeners. Let's begin our online lecture. Today, we are going to talk about translation of movies. So I do hope that you are going to get some useful information from today's lecture. Have you ever thought about how movie titles or movies are translated across the globe? It's easy to watch movies, to watch different kind of soap operas without giving attention to the translators or to the background stage workers' job, hard work. As you know, there are different kind of film productions that produce huge amount of films every year and earn a lot of money. It is often said that English is a universal language, but for a wider audience reach, it is better for film producers to produce films in English language. Only in one language they produce, and as well as they pay a lot of money, it costs millions. But when we speak about the other languages, it is out of question. It demands a lot of expenditure, a lot of money. So let's talk about film and movie translation services. Let's talk about secrets, about nuances of film translation process. There are two ways of giving the meaning of the movie. The first one is subtitling. Second one is voiceovers or lip sync dubbing. These methods are the most commonly used by film producers. On the screen you can see sample from subtitling. Your translation will be written on the screen or will appear on the screen within 2 lines or maybe 3 lines. And here you artistically should give the meaning of the film, the gist of the meaning, because the space is limited. Second type is voiceovers or lip sync dubbing. It means your translation will be read by actor or actress. For example, audio dubbing is another term for subtitling. Often using subtitles is a preferred method for smaller territories, but when we speak about dubbing, it is used for a wide audience. And of course, subtitling is cost effective. When we speak about benefits of using subtitles, we can say the following. Subtitling, it is the cheapest way to give the meaning of the film into another language. The cost is relatively low, 15 times cheaper than dubbing. It provides authenticity to the film. The delivery of the film's plot is better. Watchers of the film can understand the film plot better while reading the subtitling. Let's talk about the problematic sides of subtitles. Sometimes they have some kind of obstacles for the readers, for the watchers. First of all, it is difficult to read each action because time is limited, and sometimes we cannot follow the writings, the subtitles, the meaning of the film, because a lot of shots run so quickly. The next difficulty is sometimes it is written in two lines, and translators sometimes omit a lot of words and give only the gist, and the originality of the film is lost. The next one is the translator has to just limit some kind of sentences due to the limitation of space. It is difficult to write all the translation on 2 lines, and that's why sometimes they compress long sentences, they shorten, and sometimes it is overlapping with the full screen, and it's not easy to read the whole letters because film is colorful, and sometimes the letters overlap and text may look invisible. But they say it is the cheapest way of giving the plot of the movie. When we speak about translation of subtitles, it is a long process. The first thing you should do is counting the shots. How many shots? There is no text. You have to listen to the text and jot down the translation. When we say jot down, that means write down. You should stop each film in each stop, in each shot, because each shot may consist dialects, or even it may not consist any kind of dialect. You have to write shot numbers, and then you have to write the speakers' names and then their direct speech. How many shots? You have to count each shot. And then after your work, that you film producers will just replace all written forms on the screen on the movie. But remember, you are the only person who can understand the speech and subtitle coincidence. And here you may help, you may show your assistance. Only 2 lines of subtitles are allowed, sometimes 3. And it's necessary if you have to omit an important part of dialogue. You have to use compression, you have to omit, give the main meaning. Now let's move to dubbing. Dubbing, that means giving a voice over voice. And here the film producers hire a lot of film stars to make their film popular, or actors. They will read your translation. It involves the replacement of the original or source audio track with recorded audio dialogue in another language. And of course, a lot of people can understand the translated dialect easily. If it's translated into Uzbek, of course it's easy for Uzbek audience to listen and to watch films easily. When we speak about censorship, each country has got their own censorship program that do not want foreign languages to influence the citizens. Sometimes they omit, they shorten some cultural peculiarities of films in order not to affect on their culture. When we speak about benefits of dubbing, we can say the following. It is used for, if it's used in English language, you can capture the whole auditory in the world. Actors speak in the language they can understand. Plot better understands. The people understand the plot better when movie is dubbed in their own language. Sometimes movies and localization is very important. They localize some kind of phrases and to give the effect of original. Sometimes they try to shorten some rude words meaning in the target language according to the culture of the audience. So main consideration when translating a movie are political, economic, ideological, cultural preferences of the target countries. According to these features, films are translated. So while translating, you have to count each shot, each picture, or kadr in Russian and Uzbek separately. Before translating each shot, you have to write the short number and watch very carefully. Dubbing the movie is much easier to accomplish, and the most difficult part is hiring the voice of actors for the job, as well as the best translator is chosen to fit the best job. So transcripts is sent to the translators, who will have to match the dubbing script to the length of each dialogue, as well as when it is finished, the transcript will be sent to the translator to check the finished work, and then he will approve. So directors and translators work with the voice. Translated dialogue to ensure the accuracy and proper timing of the video. The last version is checked by translators. So sound engineer will prepare the translated audio track so it can be mixed with source video. So it should substitute, it should just fix or match to the source video. The sound should watch, the translation should just match, everything should match. Headlines and film titles. When we speak about translation of them, you have to choose some kind of methodology or direction or just techniques to give the meaning of the original language. Now, let's look about the translation of headlines and film translations. Headlines and film titles contain emotionally colored words, phrases, sayings, expressions, special terms to produce a strong emotional effect. For example, Jumanji. Jumanji is short and everybody knows its meaning. What about Harry Potter? Films are global products designed with a worldwide market in mind. So the naming or the headline should also be thought very carefully. When we speak about translation, translators should be very careful about giving the meaning. The first advice is to consult the client. What kind of translation does he want? Some clients prefer the headlines of their movie not to be translated. So you should take into consideration their desire, their will. So here you have to choose appropriate name to attract the attention, and it should be easy to remember, and it has to be comprehensible and culture specific. Sometimes the cultural differences between source text viewers and target text viewers and sometimes differ, and the source text and target text should have some kind of coincide in the means of translation. The question is whether and how to translate film titles and have to be successful. Have to translate and to be successful. Let's talk about this question. Let's take the example of Titanic. Titanic was translated, was just given as Titanic in Russian. In Uzbek the same, Titanic. But about Harry Potter, they didn't translate the proper names. They gave its version in Uzbek and in Russian language. Translated versions of titles should sound attractive, elusive, suggestive. Even if it's proper name, it should attract audience attention. We can see some strategies to implement during translation of titles. Keeping the original title, translating the title literal translation with modification, keeping part of the original title and adding and so on. On the screen you can see the translation of the film The Fast and the Furious. Several lists are given. But here Forsage became very famous because the people who watched the film accepted this version of translation. So they they changed it. Fast and Furious was translated as a Forsage. But Быстрые и яростные and several synonymic lists we gave it in the first line. And sometimes word formation maybe, or just full translation or full transformation was accepted by the nation or the target language. Sometimes absolutely changed, and the name of the film was absolutely changed and hasn't any relation with the original one, but it gives the film plot, and so the people or nation just accepted it. Next one, the film movie Lost was translated into Russian language «Остаться в живых». But here you can see потерянные, пропавшие, потерпевшие крушение and so on. But «Оставшие в живых» was accepted by the people. It was supported by the people, Russian people. Next one. Sometimes they translate word for word. Die Hard, крепкий орешек. Yes, they translated it very beautifully. Here you can see another example of film translation titles. And the Public Enemies was translated like Johnny D, or Die Hard as a крепкий орешек, Hangover, мальчишник, в Вегасе, How You See Me, Иллюзия обмана, and so on. Each translator gives his or her just own version. So let's see several methods of translating movies headlines. They are the following. The first one is just in order to choose equivalent or to make your film successful, you have to think about how to translate. The first thing is to leave the same name as original. For example, Apocalypto, they left the same name without translation. They kept the form, but they may just change into it's a transliteration or transcription. The next one is changing the full or just translating word for word. The Sixth Sense was translated like шестое чувство. So translators translate the word for word. They use the technicality. This is a second way of translation. The last method is just using the title that has nothing to do with the original, like Farsage. It also just attracts a lot of people's attention, involves watching the movie several times to see which catchy phrase to use. For example, Один дома was translated into Uzbek such as Mom, I missed the plane. They fully changed the name, but Russian translators said it Один дома. They translated word for word, while French translators just fully changed the name of the movie. In both cases, whether you use the subtitles or whether you use dubbing, you should give the plot of the original well enough in the target language. That was all for today. If you have got any questions, you are welcome. Thank you for being with me.